at y'all with another video. You heard? Dog, look, I don't like talking about this bitch, but we're gonna talk about her today. We're talking about Nancy Pelosi, bro. Nancy Pelosi out here talking some bullshit as usual. In her normal, she always sounds like she's out of breath. Like she always sounds like me when I try to play basketball. Every time she talks though, but it's all the time when she talks, just out of breath. Like what we need to do is what? Like what? Literally, her job is Speaker of the House, and she can barely fucking speak. She's almost as bad as Joe Biden. Joe Biden is just like bad because he's president, so people make a big deal out of it. It's a big deal. People like all the people talking about Trump's a hazard. His finger's on a nuclear button. Imagine your fucking grandpa with dementia every day having his finger next to the red button. That is basically what we have in Joe Biden. Like dead ass, straight up. This motherfucker going to like bomb Russia one morning because he thought Putin like stole his crossword puzzle or some shit. But really, he forgot his granddaughter came and took it off his desk. God damn it. Joe Biden's so old, he almost forgot that he threw so many black people in jail. So he hired Kamala Harris as VP. That was a bad joke. I thought it was about to be funny. See, that's why I leave the joke to the comedian political people. I'm a rapper, so. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and play this video that Nancy Pelosi did this press conference. I think it was like a press conference or something. I forget exactly what it was. And I want to go ahead and break it down for y'all.
That would be an attitude that people would have. But even take it on top of that, suppose your family was not, your child just decided they want to, at this time, not want to go to college, but you're paying taxes to forgive somebody else's obligations. You may not be happy about that. But you know what? We want all of our kids to reach their fulfillment. To the extent that they want to go to college, we do not want them to be prohibited from doing that for financial reasons. I've had high school students come in here and say with their grades, they're able to be accepted in the Ivy League here and there, but their family's economic situation does not enable that to happen because they have to stay close to home to work, to be part of the family situation. So what we'd like to do is have an economy that is fair, that gives opportunity, and does not hold anybody back because of financial reasons. And again, how some people may view the relieving people of this obligation has to be viewed in a fair way, where we have something that gives opportunity. That's the big word, opportunity, to all of America's families. Yeah.
So you saw her there, like she basically said that some Ayn Rand, like she just went full fucking Ayn Rand, and it's like she tried to clean it up at the end, you know, kind of like, well, we want to. The prime word is opportunity, and we want to create it, but we want to be fair to all of our rich billionaire donors. We don't, we don't want to take their money. So yeah, we want to. Like, what? What are you talking about right now? We just heard what the fuck you said. We just heard you. You just said it. There's no cleaning that up. You literally just said what you felt, what you fucking felt, and the even more crazy part is, like, crazy. Well, I don't think crazy is the word, and I don't think ironic is the word. The hypocrisy behind it all is that Nancy Pelosi, like, literally like she and I'm going to be covering Glenn Greenwald's article. I might drop that either today as well, or I might wait till Monday to drop it. I don't know, so just look out for it. But he covered how she's made multi-millions of dollars presiding over bills in Congress. Like it's insane. But I want to go ahead and read this article because one of the points that I want to dispute that she brings up is Joe Biden just can't, he just can't do it with a flick of a pen. Yeah, he actually can. And I'm about to show you right now how and why he can. So this is an article from The Prospect. This is part of their first 100 days. Basically, they did a whole article series. They did a fantastic job on it too, but I could have told them Biden wasn't going to do any of that shit. But they wrote a whole bunch of articles about things Joe Biden could literally have done with the flick of a pen, with executive actions, or with minor efforts. But most of them were literally shit he could have done via executive action. But I'm going to go into this, and they actually had excellent, like a dope point about Trump in this article as well that I wanted to bring up, but let's go ahead and get into it. Cancel student debt, almost all of it. An obscure decades-old provision called Compromise and Settlement Authority would allow the Department of Education to opt out of collecting trillions in debt. Right now, more than, and this was written by Marsha Brown. Right now, more than 44 million Americans hold nearly $1.6 trillion in student debt, and this debt is ruining lives. It prevents people from buying a house or car, getting married, and starting a family. So I might also cover an article that they also did talking about like just dumbass arguments to to um to student debt cancellation. I'm actually going to be pulling like one paragraph on there because I think this because Nancy Pelosi basically used one of the dumbest arguments you can actually use. So I'm going to pull a paragraph from that article at the end of this article. So I'll let you guys know. But they did a fantastic job talking about that because everything this journalist just listed here, it prevents people from buying a house or car, getting married, and starting a family. So basically the main things there that I want to highlight is family and being able to participate in the economy. Those are two of the things that conservatives and specifically Republicans talk about all the time, yet they're okay with things like basically excluding people from starting families properly, at least, and participating in the economy. It's fucking ridiculous, man. And it's like, what they like to pretend, like people like me are talking about, basically we want equal outcome. That's not what we're saying. We want equal opportunity. And a lot of views, and honestly in a lot of Americans' views given polls, that like equal opportunity would be free education, the basics, free like education, free education, free housing for the homeless. We spend all this money, doing all this, like criminalizing homelessness. Give them a home. It'll solve a lot of their fucking problems because most of them are working poor anyway, sleeping in cars or just don't have a home, going from friend's house to friend's house to family member's house to family member. Give them a home. So shelter, so education, shelter, food and water. Give people the fucking basics to survive. And I know there's a couple other things we may be missing on there. I would add on there like other things like legalizing drugs. We have a big drug problem in here. Legalize drugs, you remove the taboo around, and a lot of people will stop doing drugs. But also legalize it and give people a proper place and space to actually do the drugs they want to do safely. And I would recommend looking into Dr. Carl Hart's work. He's dope. I did discover him off of Crystal Kyle and Friends, but regardless, like it don't matter where you get the fucking information from, as long as you get the information. And Dr. Carl Hart, like I've been looking into his work a lot, man. I would definitely recommend. That's why I have that point of view. But we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about this. So let's get back to it. But yeah, I wanted to point that out because a lot of my conservative friends, I get into arguments with them about this shit all the time because the data and evidence shows that, yeah, there are other social and societal things that play a role, that play a smaller role in that, but most of it is based upon economy. So, and that I'll save that. I was about to say something, but I'm gonna save it for another video. To activists, it's a policy failure. The idea of making individuals and families pay out of pocket for something that's a right and public good is wrong, says Ann Larson, co-founder of the Debt Collective, an organization that advocates for student debt cancellation. Both Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, both people who are never going to fight for this, have boldly called for student debt to be forgiven, giving students financial freedom and allowing a reset for the tragic way we finance higher education. Clearly, such a plan would run into resistance from Mitch McConnell and Republicans, and apparently now Nancy Pelosi in Congress, and perhaps even some Democrats, and yeah, Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden. But Warren and Sanders don't need Congress to cancel at least 95% of all outstanding student debt. And I wanted to pull this up. All Joe Biden has to do is sign this 2-page document, and 100% of your federal student loans will be gone. It won't cost taxpayers a penny. So this is from the Debt Collective Initiative. I'd recommend checking out their website. But so yeah, continuing. All Joe Biden has to do is sign this 2-page document, and I'm going to read the document as well. And 100% of your federal student loans will be gone. It won't cost taxpayers a penny, and it will transform the lives of 45 million people struggling with student debt, with student loan debt. Really, it's that simple. President Biden has a magic wand that can create millions of new jobs, narrow the racial wealth gap, and liberate 45 million people crushed by student debt. This wand is authority legally granted by Congress. The president can cancel all federal student loans through executive order. It's not a magic trick. With the flick of his pen, he can legally make all federal student loan debt disappear. And we need to get this executive order to President Biden so he will sign it. Even if you get it to him, he will not sign it. The answer, according to Luke Herron, a PhD student in law at Yale, lies with an obscure statute dating back to the Eisenhower presidency known as Compromise and Settlement Authority. This authority was granted to the Department of Education first in 1958 and then codified further in the Higher Education Act of 1965. Herron, who recently finished a public draft of a paper on the subject, explained in an interview that compromise and settlement operates similarly to the concept of prosecutorial discretion, a whole line of jurisprudence that is not really something the courts can question. For example, if someone hits your car, you have standing to sue, but there's nothing that says you must sue. Similarly, the Department of Education can just decide not to collect on student loans. Compromise and settlement gives the education department this explicit authority. Herron writes, the education department has absolute discretion to determine when to stop collections, when to collect less than the full amount, and when to release debtors' claims in tota. So, and I believe this is Trump did this. He put a pause on student loan debts during during coronavirus in like mid 2020, because I remember him doing that. He put a pause on them. This power has grown in potential scope over time. In 2010, President Obama signed the Student Aid and Fiscal Responsibility Act, a bill ushered in as part of the Obamacare law. SAFRA eliminated middleman banks that issued student loans with a government guarantee, instead creating new lines of credit for students directly from the Department of Education. This meant that after 2010, virtually all student loans became public loans. Today, the government is responsible for $1.5 trillion of the $1.6 trillion in student debt, and these loans are the easiest to cancel through compromise and settlement. The government can simply opt out of collecting them. The few privately collected student loans still out there will be more difficult to deal with. Herron writes that the Department of Education would have to use its powers to creatively obtain possession. Canceling student debt is no new idea. The Department of Education already uses a bevy of programs to alleviate debt for certain populations. There's a program to discharge the debt of permanently disabled veterans, a program that reduces interest rates to zero for service members deployed to a combat zone, and a program to cancel loans that were fraudulently issued, like for worthless diplomas from predatory for-profit colleges. There's also the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. It forgives the remaining balance on direct loans for public servants, including public employees, teachers, and nonprofit workers, equaling roughly 1/3 of all Americans after they've made monthly payments for 10 years. And this is what's interesting with so this is the Trump bit I was talking about. The Trump administration has looked coolly on many of these programs. And in the past year, over 54,000 requests for public service loan forgiveness were processed, and just 661 were granted relief. But Trump did just recently speed the cancellation of debt for 25,000 disabled veterans under the Higher Education Opportunity Act of 2008, after criticism that the vets weren't getting the relief they were owed. In other words, the conservative idea that canceling debt is immoral, students made these choices after all, holds no water. So basically, Nancy Pelosi, like literally, instead of Nancy Pelosi going out and saying this bullshit that she said, she should be going out, reading this article over and over again, and reading this tidbit about Trump and the Republicans over and over again. But instead, we live in fucking La La Land, Earth 2 or some shit. We live on Earth fucking dumb as hell. That literally Republicans are going to be playing this on a loop for. And I can't take credit for this. Jamal Thomas brought up this point. Like, basically, he said, if I was a Republican, I would be playing this video on loop whenever Democrats are yelling and bringing up student loan debt. I would play this on a loop, and not only just for student loan debt, but any other social programs they propose, and also use it as a means to go and get rid of other social programs that already exist. And that's a great point, because that's exactly what they're going to do. I can see them doing well. Some of them, I can see some of them doing it, because the Republicans, a lot of the Republicans are just as dumb as the fucking Democrats. So, we cancel debt for students all the time. The difference is that compromise and settlement would completely alter the current student debt ecosystem. And man, that's wild. So I want to read this paragraph from the other American Prospect article. So yeah, like I said, I'm gonna be covering this full article. I don't know when. Just you'll see it when I drop it. Just look out for it. But I'll link this article down below as well. But so this is so they did a whole article. They did like 6 stupid arguments against student loan debt cancellation, and this is stupid argument number 4. Student debt cancellation won't help those who did not go to college. This is basically what Nancy Pelosi was arguing in favor of. It is true that student debt forgiveness might not directly benefit individuals who did not go to college, but it would certainly benefit households in which at least someone did, and it would certainly help those families who sent their kids to college only to see them struggle to make a living, often relying on their parents for financial assistance. And basically just overall is just like, I don't get this whole argument of like, you know, oh, we need to why should I have to pay for somebody to go to college, this and that. And a lot of them only look at the aspects of college where people are, you know, just like the party aspects of college and shit like that. But that's because like I'm for restructuring the education system as a whole and making education more about education. So it's like I like, look, I can see why people would feel that way. And there's another argument on this list as well that talks about like it only helps like rich people, which is also complete bullshit because it's most poor people that like if you're really rich, most people are going to pay for their kids' college, for them to go to college. We literally just saw that. Even the fucking dumb ones, that's what the whole college scandal shit was about. They were overpaying to get their kid into the school. So that argument is dumb as well. But it's like this would help a lot of people. That, like, I just read you all the statistics and data they have on it. 45. This would literally help 45 million people financially to not have to worry about that bill. That's less of a bill and more money that can go to other more important things, and more money in their pockets to pursue and better themselves, to seek more skills. Kind of like how those UBI studies I showed, those people were able to go out and gain more skills, have more time to spend with their kids, their family, afford to do more shit with them. So it's like, it's just crazy, man. And this is also from the Debt Collective. Big news. President Biden can cancel all federal student loan debt with a simple executive order. So we wrote the entire executive order for him. All he has to do is sign this piece of paper. What is that piece of paper? This is that piece of paper. This is the executive order that they wrote for President Biden. Continued student loan payment relief during the COVID-19 pandemic. When initially created in the Higher Education Act of 1965, the modern student loan program was meant to help make our higher education system more equal. Today, it does the opposite, imposing huge burdens on those households with the least inherited wealth, deepening the racial wealth gap, and making higher education an enormously risky endeavor. For those with the least capacity to bear risk, student loan debt now prevents millions of people from pursuing their dreams. It prevents or delays pursuing public service work, buying a home, getting married, retiring, starting a business. It causes stress, anxiety, depression, and even suicide. Meanwhile, it distorts the way we provide education, making increasingly many programs focus narrowly on vocational training rather than pursuit of a broad set of competencies. The burden of student debt has become all the sharper during the unprecedented global pandemic through which we are still living. Most student loan debtors have benefited from a payment pause during the pandemic and forcing them to start payment again, just as their lives and our economy begins to recover would be cruel and counterproductive. Student loan experts expect default rates to rise precipitously if the payment pause is lifted without canceling debt. It is time to wipe the slate clean, both as the first step toward building a more just and sustainable higher education system and as a crucial part of the recovery from the rolling crises brought on by the COVID pandemic. Accordingly, by the authority vested in me as the president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered as follows. Section, and it goes on, I'm not going to read this whole thing. It basically tells you what it's going to do. All he has to do is sign right there. They wrote the fucking thing for him. I can tell you right now, he ain't signing that shit. You literally have the Speaker of the House like literally talking like fucking like Ron DeSantis or fucking Mitch McConnell or Ayn Rand up there. So we're not getting it. Unfortunately we're not. I hope I'm wrong. I would like to be wrong, but I don't think so. Just like, I had to catch myself with the same thing with Biden in Afghanistan. Like I gave him credit initially until like you read deeper into the sauce. Kyle Kalinske, you like to read deeper into the sauce when you feel like it. You need to read deeper into the sauce when it comes to Afghanistan. So, but yeah, so it's just crazy that like that she said that, and that like just this is who the squad voted for speaker, when they could have forced the vote to at least get a floor vote for Medicare for all. And now you still have these people, these fucking shit libs shitting on people like us for bringing that up. And as the Democrats get progressively shittier and moving further right, they're literally moving further right when they have all the power in the in DC right now. It's insane, bro. It's insane. So I don't know what to say, man. I really don't. I'm just gonna say, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and close the video out there. I know y'all like I know you like what I did. As always, guys, thank you for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Emphasis on all that, because y'all got YouTube is YouTube trying to make me touch ankles right now, bro, to be completely real with you, dog. So definitely show love, share the videos, guys. Definitely share them. I'm gonna work on trying to make them shorter. I know I make long videos because I like to go in depth with shit, but I'm gonna start working on making them shorter, so I know people you send them to. Because I know, like, back in the day before I got into politics, I'd see somebody, they would send me a video that's like an hour, like couple. I'm like, what the fuck, like. So I'm definitely going to work on trying to make shorter videos as well. But definitely share the videos, guys. It helps a lot, and just keep showing the love, man. And with that being said, peace. Peace.